broadcasting live from an undisclosed location in the universe. Welcome to Iggy Garcia Live, the show where metaphysics, holistic living, motivation, and inspiration come together to empower your mind, body, and soul. We will dive deep into the realms of metaphysical wisdom, exploring the fascinating connections between mind and matter. Get ready to ignite your inner spark and embrace a journey of self-discovery. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Good morning, Facebook friends, TikTok, social media, all over, wherever you'll find this video. Just wanted to drop in today. I know a lot of you have been wondering how I've been. I know it's been close to 8 months now since I had my episode in July. July 6th, I was hospitalized. That number just sticks in my head now forever, but I don't own it. It's where I was at the moment and what I went through. And so for those of you, just to catch you up, I had an ketoacidosis attack. Pretty much my sugar went wacko. So basically they just put me on insulin and stuff at that time. And then I worked with, those of you who know my friend Laura Belg, she helped me through the process of finding ways to get off, medications, things that, so my body wouldn't be dependent on them. Now, what I share with you here today is my own personal journey. So always please consult whoever you feel you need to consult with. May that be your doctor, your holistic practitioner. But just know that these results are my results. So that's what I'm sharing. I'm not saying you can't do it, but just be mindful. The journey I took was of discernment, responsibility, dedication, and not wavering from what I had to do to help myself. I'm going to say that after my appointment, which was December, I believe, my doctor took my blood, took my readings, and quite frankly, I think he was blown away. And I was like, I don't know why he seemed surprised, I'm like, I think if you put your mind and heart and soul into something and you really want to do it, you can achieve and accomplish anything. That's the way I live my life. That failures weren't really setbacks. They were launching pads to more success, or to be able to refocus and look at things. So even like with my business failures, or anybody who's been in business, just because you fail doesn't mean that you're a bad business person. But I did learn that I had to take care of my health. My health was valid. Like, I had to really look at me. Yeah, I was helping a lot of people. I'm still helping a lot of people. And my motto has always been, if you help one person, you've done your thing, right? You've done your goal. And so I'm continuing to work on that one person, which happens to be myself. And so over the course of time, I'm no longer on insulin. I'm not on any medication, actually. They wanted to put me on blood pressure medicine. They wanted to put me on all kinds of crazy stuff. And I was like, I can't do that. I can't have my body become dependent on this stuff. Like I just said in the beginning, this is my results. This is my body. This is my determination, my drive to abstain from sugar, abstain from soda, abstain from fast food, and eat a cleaner diet. I mean, to be honest with you, the carbs, like rice, potatoes, and enriched flours and stuff like that, I don't do that anymore. And you know what? I'm very grateful that I had the willpower and the strength to do that. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be honest with you. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. For a minute, I struggled thinking, man, I can't eat this, can't eat that, can't But now, with taking care of my body for those 8 months or 6 months, whatever, it's 8 months, but within those 6 months period before I got my blood results, I had to be very dedicated to my heart and to my spirit and to my soul, and to be able to say, okay, I can do this. I can do this, but I know it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult because I told myself it was going to be difficult. But you know what? I also told myself that I could do this. And when I decided that I was going to make a difference in my own personal life, things shifted. And things are still shifting. The worries, the concerns aren't as bad as, the food cravings aren't as bad. I do my routine in the morning, sometimes once a week I skip something that I usually do in my routine. I introduce a little bit of carbs here and there just for my body's sake, but I don't overdo it. I don't overdo it anymore. Like today I'm having my mushroom coffee to stabilize me. I take my supplements in the morning, and I eat my eggs in the morning. That's probably been the biggest, coolest thing, because I like eggs, and there's always been always been taboos that you eat too many eggs, so high cholesterol. But it depends what kind of eggs you're eating too. You want to eat good, good eggs that are the little birds are in there in the pasture. They're eating their things and being humanely treated. It's like anybody, right? If you're humanely treated, if you're treated properly, you're going to respond. You're going to react. If your environment sucks, well, you're going to produce a lot of stuff, negative energy, it's going to affect your body. But in this process, too, I also learned how to talk to myself again, how to encourage myself, how to embrace myself, and how to say, hey, you know what, Iggy? I got you into trouble. And I said, yeah, my poor habits. Even though I was doing the right things, I still had poor habits within the things I was doing right. And what were those poor habits? Well, I didn't even know they were poor habits. It was just a shift that I had to take. I would say to myself, it's just one thing here, one thing there, and that won't hurt me. And then you know what? Eventually, you just keep lying to yourself that, here and there, I'm going to take it, quite frankly, since I do this shamanic work and I do this healing work, I come to learn that even though your parents might pass genes or predisposition to you about having certain ailments, you don't have to own those ailments. That's their story. The story is what's your story, And I'm thinking, it's just all conditioned. I was conditioned that I could eat this, could eat that, and I'll be okay. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm vibrant. And then next thing you know, you balloon up into a 260-pound man. Now I weigh 220 now. I could still, but I'm maintaining there. I don't go up or down. Just that's where I'm at, because I consistently work out, eat the things I need to eat. But I feel better. I rest better. I sleep better. But I tell you, discipline is probably the key word today that I'm going to tell you. The art to be disciplined in what you're doing for yourself. Because the only person you're really accountable to is to yourself. And then the other people you're accountable to are the people you love and care about. If you're not accountable to yourself and you're not a good example to yourself, then you're not really a good example to anybody else. As much as you want to be righteous and you want to be, seen as a good person, you have to take care of your body. You have to take care of your mind, because your body affects your mind. Your mind affects your body. And we can conjure up so many excuses about how we feel, or the way we need to feel, or what we have to do, or what we can get away with. I'm just going to be blunt. All of you guys, including myself, know exactly what you shouldn't be doing or doing. You know exactly that if you do this or you stay on this course, you're going to have a certain kind of result. How important is it to you? Is that McDonald's that important to you that you have to eat it because you miss it? Or that freaking soda pop that has 33% sugar in it? That's insane. I didn't really think about it when I would drink that stuff. I'll be like, it's just the Coke. And I didn't drink that much Coke. But it's all the stuff I've eaten, like the crackers and the snack, the grazing. I call it the grazing. It's all my grazing that I was doing. And I still kind of graze, but I graze with better foods, right? More better foods, with better food, So my grazing habits are different. I'm trying to cut back on that too, because my body's in constant, digestion mode, and I don't want that. I want to be able to fast too. Now, I may have taken fasting to the extreme, and then came off my fast in the past, not eating properly either. So I'm still in the process of learning. I'm still, working things out, working through things. But I know in the long run, I'll be better for it. Because when I reflect back and I look and I think about if I stayed on that course, even though I thought I was doing the right things, I don't know, I would have been a completely different story today. One day makes a difference. One thought and in a second makes a difference. 8 months has made a difference for me. 8 months that I've been working on myself. The last 3 months have probably been the most positive, uplifting parts of my development, physically and spiritually and emotionally. I've had the energy, I've had the drive, I've had the ambition, to the point where I have to really focus myself and, stay on a task, because I'm just so energized now. It's different from where I was before. Not that I didn't do anything. Back then I was just kind of going through life like everybody, just assuming, this is okay, this one, and that's what hurt me. Just the assumptions to myself and talking myself into things, because the only person I really listen to is myself, right? And I have, battles of confliction with myself about things, but lately, not so much. Lately, my body and my mind goes, I need to do this, and when I tell my wife, she goes, well, you should gotta eat a little bit of carbs. I'm like, I said, I'll do it when it's time. I don't want to do it right now because I don't feel like it. And my body's telling me no, and I listen to my body, and my mind is going, I don't want to ever go back to that space and that place again that I was at. That was not fun at all. It was being halfway in your body and halfway out of your body. It's kind of like being halfway out of your mind and half out of your spirit. It was like you could see things that you couldn't see because you knew you were possibly going to transition. I had my body was shutting down. Now I can go reflect back what was happening, but I'm a stubborn mule, man. I wasn't going to go down like that. I remember when the doctors went and they were like, the nurse came and she was, well, you took the cake. And I'm like, no, I didn't. What are you talking about? I didn't take no cake. I was, because you're out of it, right? And she goes, no, your sugar is 1100. And your potassium is everything's you're just out of balance. You're out of harmony. You're just not, you're not who you're lucky that most people would be, we're honest with you, most people would be dead. And maybe because of your age, you're able to fight through it. But many people would be in a coma. And I was like, well, my mom was in a diabetic coma. They induced her into a coma. But she survived, And I'm thinking to myself, what is it that my mom couldn't do that I did? Well, she had limited beliefs. She didn't really see herself the way she probably could have seen herself and had the potentialities to do better for herself. She took her sentence and she embraced her sentence. And, even though she probably part of her didn't want to, a part of her needed to or wanted to for some reason. But in my case, that was not going to be a sentence for me. Listen, I would rather take supplements the rest of my life and invest in that than to be taking chemicals and pills that do me no well. Because I at least know that if I do the work, I can maintain and take care of myself. Now, is my body going to break down? Sure, because that's what happens. The human body breaks down. The human body is designed to, do the things it does. But inside of our body, we also have control of what we feed it and when we get it. It's just like our planet. If we pollute it, we're going to get a reflection of that pollution. We're going to get a reflection of what we see in front of us. Like I'm sitting outside. There is a chill in here, but I'm appreciative of the Mother Earth. I'm appreciative of all her gifts. I'm appreciative of the Creator, Sky Father, the gifts that He blesses and endows us with. And those tears, that sweat that embraces and kisses the Mother Earth. And they both unify. Regardless, Earth Mother, Sky Father, they work together in tandem to make sure that we have stability, that we have what we have. Now, humans, well, we're like the unruly child, right? We're the unruly child that just assumes that everything will be here forever. That, this is my toy, this is my thing. Nothing against the unruly child, but the problem is unruly child's been around other unruly children. And when you're around people who are like-minded, you become like-minded. Or if you reside and let go and release yourself into that, you get more of that. The human race is no different than the things I've been talking about for the last 30 plus years about the work, since I've been doing this work. We're the compilation of all the people that were around us. We're, everybody who we invite into our space, there's a part of us that, we become like them, or they become like us. The influences goes both ways. And so, my birds are here visiting, my little guys. Love those guys, my little sparrows. They just look at me for a minute like, is it cool? Can I get some water? And they're shaking like this. Sometimes in my own imagination, I'm waiting for them to open up their wing and go, hi. And maybe they have, maybe they haven't. But either way, back to my story. But I'm here to report to tell you that I'm doing a lot better. I'm doing much better. I'm very happy with my progress. I'm very happy in the direction that I'm flowing. I'm very happy, with the new successes that I've created in my life. I'm also not as anxious, and there's been a lot of forgiving happening in my life too. A lot of releasing and forgiving of others and forgiving myself, how I feel about others. And there's also been some very serious bluntness and direction towards myself and others to say, you know what, we're not a fit. It's nothing against you. It's just me. It's the triggers in me that are triggered. Those triggers affect me, and I can't have that right now. Maybe in the future we can cross those roads together, but I've had to let go of some people. And, not that they were bad people or good or, indifferent. It's just, it wasn't a fit. They were taking me in a different direction that I really didn't want to go. But now I have new friends. I have new directions, new acquaintances, new friendships, new bonds, And these are positive, and they're working in my favor and hopefully working in their favor. I want to be able to be the solution, not the problem. But I also understand if there's an issue and I'm there, then I'm part of the problem. The dynamics are just very evident. Wherever you are and you see chaos, you're part of the chaos. If you are in bliss, you're part of the bliss. That's kind of how it works. Our energies attract. And so sometimes my friends remind me that my self-talk, I need to monitor my self-talk, even through joking, But also I have a time to talk to myself and say, hey, listen, this is not how it is, but we're joking around, we're teasing, and, I hope you don't take it that wrong. It's funny, in the past I never even had to think about, I never thought about just the little subtleties that I was doing that was affecting my spirit, my soul. But we're out of winter now, and we're moving into spring really fast. And so my regimen of working out and doing things are opening up. I have a new space opening up with my friend Jeremy and my friend Kristen. We're all, on the same page. We want to be able to be available for others so we can help them walk their path, and obtain their healing that they're looking for within themselves. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I've got a drum circle coming up in Hillsborough this Friday. For those of you who can make it, join me. Those of you who can't, we'll probably live stream it. But I wanted to share, just a little bit. I'm doing good, guys. And I appreciate those of you who reach out to me and ask me or send me memes how to do better. But I will say, I'm going to report to you that I'm not on any medication at all. Like nothing, zero. I'm 59 years old, and I don't feel it. I really know that I have a journey that I have to walk in a positive way, in a positive light, and understand that I'll have some bumps in the roads, but I'm really grateful for all of you who reached out to me when I was down and out, and when I wasn't well. And, I appreciate all you guys who have been in my life, who helped me through it, and still help me through it as we journey together. And I'm excited. I'm excited about the future and the things we're going to be doing together. I'm excited for those of you who've never been to any of my events. You're going to love them. And those of you who've been there and, you've had your fill, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. But now, my focus has been myself for close to 8 months. My focus will always be continuing myself and my family and my friends and those I hold close to me, heart. And moving forward, I'm just going to be open to possibilities. And I hope that you're open to possibilities. I hope you're open to creating and collaborating and co-creating. But, like I said, as I sip my mushroom coffee here, I remember my videos to you guys, sharing my story as I progress from February of 2025. And I was telling you how my doctor said I'd lose weight. No. Done a lot of work. I had to go to the hospital just to give into them the initial thrust that I was still needing. I need a lot of work to do. And I still have a lot of work to do. I still have a lot of growth to do. I still have a lot of learning to do. I know some things, like you know some things, but I know one thing, you never stop learning. The moment you think you stop learning, you're kind of defeating the purpose in the journey. Because there's always something to learn, there's always someone to meet, always somebody to connect with. But it sounds like my neighborhood's starting to wake up. The birds are chirping. The neighbors are doing their landscaping. I can hear the saws and the weed whackers in the background. So life doesn't wait for anybody. Life doesn't wait for me. Life definitely doesn't wait for anyone. Not you, not your mom, not your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your siblings, your friends. So make the best of your life. Do the best you can in the moments that you are given. Sure, you could be frustrated, you could be upset, you could be in a grouchy mood, you could be pissed off, and you can also be very happy, very content, very appreciative, and have very much be in gratitude about the things you have. Listen, every morning I wake up, I'm a smile on my face. Because now I wake up, feeling better than I used to. And I thank the Creator, and I thank, my spirit, my soul, and my Mother Earth. I thank them for the breath that I've taken. The air to breathe. It's in front of me, all over me, surrounding me in this ocean of, air. So I'm able to breathe, I'm able to work. My story is much longer than this, but I wanted to share those little pieces, those little parts of me with you guys. And just kind of keep going with what I do. So I appreciate those of you who support me in my business, support me in the work I do. I love what I do. I'm going to continue doing what I do. because I like to see the smiles on people's faces and the healing in people's hearts as they move through their lives, knowing that there's hope. We create hope when we open ourselves to the process. We're open to peace when we're open to the process. It's easy to be an angry person. It's easy to be upset and angry. It's easy to be a good person. It's easy to be conflicted. It's easy to have all these different emotions. But in the end, what really rules you is the moment you sit quietly in your chair, looking out into the sky, looking at the sun behind the clouds as it peeks through once in a while. You know? Some things are just stories for you to absorb and feelings for you to have. Sometimes when you sit on your deck and you're sipping your coffee or tea or whatever you're drinking in that moment, you get a moment that belongs to you. And every moment is yours, but there are certain moments that define your spirit and your soul. Certain moments that say, hey, you know what? I'm alive, and this is beautiful. And I'm sitting here as I watch the sun peek through the clouds, hear the birds chirping in the background. I watch the tassels on my umbrella that's unfolded, wiggling, the wind's wiggling it, dancing through it. You know, I watch the little sparrows coming into the water feeder, drinking their water. But so much is happening around me that I could never take it all in. But the pieces and parts that I can take in are vitally important to me, are vitally important to, you know, seeing the world and feeling the world and being part of it in a different way. All the political stuff, it's just political stuff. In the end, it affects some of us. In the end, some of us benefit from it, some of us don't. But all aside, all these political, all these feelings, these emotions of frustration, contentment, whatever you're feeling, there's just this, I can't even explain it. It's just this feeling of gratitude that's just so huge. That we're spinning on this huge ball in outer space. And that gravity keeps us from floating off of it, you know? Because of the spinning, the centrifugal force of it. And this is how I know that regardless if you believe in a creator or not, these just are not random acts of, you know, of randomness. For something to be exactly 1 degree one way or 1 degree that way would make such a huge difference. And to sit here and go, you know, there's just a cosmic love that created all this. I don't have the answers to which religion's correct and which religion's not. Because it's pretty much the same as when I talk about, you know, we live the way we do because somebody else lived that way too. You know, maybe our houses would have been round if someone started building round houses instead of square houses. You know, maybe we'd never cut our lawns, we'd let our lawns just grow. But somebody thought manicuring our lawns was going to be the ideal way. You know, it's, when we look at life, sometimes take a moment to pause and say, why do we do things the way we do? Because somebody else did before us. And somebody else did for them, and somebody else did for them, and somebody else did for them. And next thing you know, 21 days makes a habit, right? Forms a habit. Well, thousands of years forms a habit. 10,000 years. 100,000 years. However long man's been here. And when I say man, I mean our ancestors. And you know, they formed habits. They created what they thought was good in that moment. They destroyed and battled things that they felt were uncomfortable to their existence. And we still do that. We battle and destroy things that we feel that interfere with our existence. So not much has really changed except for the players, the technology, the feelings, the emotions, the separations. I don't know why humans do that and why we feel like that we can't coexist. Maybe there's some weird energetic flow that moves through our bodies from Mother Earth in order to sustain populations, to sustain ecosystems. You know, and nature has its balance too, you know. It's insects eating other insects, you know. Certain spiders, certain wasps eat certain types of aphids, and larvae eating certain. So there's this unspoken balance. So does that affect humans too? I always curious to wonder. I always wonder about that sometimes. The same way I see, you know, a hawk pluck a bird from the sky, you know, or I see a coyote take someone's dog, you know, or someone's cat, or I see a cat get a mouse. And so it leaves you to ponder, you know, it leaves you to think about things. There's just this unspoken balance that we take and we call it war, poverty, peace, hope, love. You know, I know we all want to have a utopia of existence where we can all get along. But sometimes I wonder if Mother Nature has a way for us to not do that. I know she's a loving, caring, and she's an sentient being, so she knows when it's time to shake and when it's time to move the fleas off of her. And she has done that for countless billions of years. And you know, there are things that existed way before we ever did that no longer will never exist, will never be back, will never return. And I hate to say it, we're probably going to be the same way. There'll be a time where we will be erased from the timeline of existence because Mother Earth will do what she needs to do, because there will just be no remnants of us, as there are probably no remnants no matter how deep you go down the earth. You know, we rediscover new languages and we can't even decipher them sometimes. So I find it fascinating, you know, that humanity is like the wasps and the bees and the hornet wasps, you know, you know. We're no different. We want to think we're different. We want to think that we're immune, that we're not like the animal kingdom, that we're not like that we're not selective in what we do. Now, they don't randomly kill to kill. They have their processes, but then there are things like the lion prides do. When there's a main lion, he protects the pride, and no other lion can mate with the other females. But sometimes another young male gets in there, breeds with a female. They will track down that lion and the cubs and that female and kill them. You know, for a long time I didn't know that even existed until I saw National Geographics, and they stalked it till they killed it. And I'm thinking, why did they do that? Why? What's the purpose? Bloodlines, you know, contamination of gene pools. I don't know, you know, because I've never talked to a lion, but I would assume that they instinctively know that we can't do that. They have to protect the pride. Then eventually the male lion gets challenged by a younger lion, and then he's pushed out and outcasted, and then he hangs out with a bunch of male lions, kind of like at a country club, no longer relevant. And we kind of do that too to our elderly. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. We cast them to the side. Not because we choose to, we think we have to. We think that we need to put them in a situation that will benefit them better, because we have to take care of the next gene pool, the next group. So we're no different than the animal kingdom. We just call it different things. We do it differently. You know, for those of you who take care of elderly grandparents or elderly moms and dads, I commend you, because that's a hard task, especially when you're trying to survive and you're trying to feed your family and protect the ones you love. You know, I have a 93-year-old mother-in-law, and we take care of her the best we can. We hope that she never has to go into a situation where we can't fend for her. But at this moment, she's pretty good. Why? Because she has the drive and the conviction, and she knows, and she wants to be with us. Not everybody has that feeling, emotion sometimes. Some people are ready to go. But to circle back, my 8 months of recovery are good. No pop, no junk food, very little rice, if at all. Like nothing, like minute, like just like that. Maybe once a month. No flour whatsoever, no bread, no donuts, none of that crap. You know, just, I don't even want it. I don't want it. I'm just, you know, your body just says, we can't eat that. We don't want to eat that. It's not that you can't eat it because you can. But my body goes, you know what? It looks good, but you know what? I would suggest to you that you don't eat that, Iggy, because you know what? That's just going to put you in a place that you really don't want to be. And so I'm grateful that I'm not on any medication, and that this had a great spirit has put me in a place to do better and to heal pieces and parts of myself that have been wounded. And I've been gifted some amazing things in this 8 months. And I'm going to keep moving forward with that. Even though there's some things that may never be again. But I know one thing is one thing I do know is that's their journey, not my journey. I was part of their journey. Now I move away from their journey and I continue with my journey. No matter what happens, I still journey. I'm still doing my journey. No one can dictate how I feel, what I look like, what I smell like, what I taste like. You know, but I know that if I want to do better, I control. I'm the driver. And sometimes I'm the passenger. But the majority of the time, I'm driving the bus. And so when I drive the bus, I can't be going, well, fuck, I'm just going to do it because, you know, I haven't done it. You know, I can't do that. I will not do that anymore. I used to do that. Oh, it's just one cookie, you know. No. I'm here and I'm sitting here talking to you because of the decisions I made. The proper positions and decisions. This is why I can sit here and talk to you today. Because of the decisions that I made today. And not doing the things that I did before. And the decisions I did before, I may not be here today. Sharing my story with you. Talking to you. I know one day my feed will go silent and my messages will not be heard, but there'll be a legacy of recordings and audios and videos of a time that only those who were there will know what that experience was. It may look cool and say, wow, I wish I would have been part of that. But you could be part of anything that you want to create. So if you want to be and you want to do some of the things that my friends and I do, then do it. Create your own story, create your own journey. But I do know one day I won't be here. And neither will you. The first 25 years they'll remember you. The next 50, they honor you. Then 100 years later, you're just a distant memory, if a memory at all. Why is that? Because society has taught us, Western society has taught us that it's about me and I gotta move forward and I gotta take care of myself. You know, we don't celebrate dead people. You know, we should celebrate people who have transitioned, remember them. Like a lot of Latin cultures, indigenous cultures, they have celebrations remembering their ancestors, so they're never forgotten. That's the only reason you know who they are. You'll never know who they are truly because they lived their life. Like no one will ever know what I felt, what I went through. Historically, even when we look at history books and we read about people, we don't know what they went through because all the things are filtered and digested in a way so it'll be palatable for people to understand. So everything that you ever touched, or read. It's just a brief expression of someone's existence. May that be, Jesus. May that be, Abraham Lincoln. May that be, Jack Ritter, May that be, whoever. Your grandma, your grandpa. Been 100, 150 years from now. All they can say is that we were here. So that's why I don't get too caught up in all the crap anymore like I used to. Because in the end, in the moment, it may matter. It may matter because we're trying to survive and live, but then I get caught in their little stories too. I get caught in all the political crap because they want you to be that. They need you to be that way. They want you to. You have to be that way because that's how they survive. That's how they cement their legacy. That's how they cement their story about who they were and how they've defied or how they challenged, puffing their chest. It doesn't matter if it's left or right. Listen, after we're gone, that shit's still going to go on. All this stuff you see, that's going to go on forever. Why? Because humans don't learn. Humans don't want to learn. They want to perpetuate and keep going and pushing forward the agendas of their ancestors. Because somebody told them that's the way to go. That's what you have to do. Because if you don't do it, you're not part of the group. The only reason we have religion is because someone formed it. Because of the words of somebody else. And then someone said we have to create this so it doesn't get lost. And that's why we have all these religions. This is why we have all these clubs. This is why we have all these societies. This is why we have all these things that you see. They're formed by humans. Now, I'm not here to discount anything about what you believe, but you and I won't be here. In the next 25 to 50 years, I won't be here. Definitely in 100 years, 150 years, I won't be here. So why not do something positive and good today? Instead of waiting for something positive to happen, something to just land in your lap, waiting for something to just emerge out of thin air, or, association by osmosis, it's just gonna happen, right? No, if you take the walk, you're gonna take the steps, and the steps lead to better things. So if you're stuck in your life and your world's not revolving in the way you want it, you really need to reflect and look at what you align yourself with, who you align yourself with, and why you choose to align that way. Do I have it all figured out? Heck no, I don't have it all figured out. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm not going to sit idle anymore. I'm 59. I'm almost 60. This year, at the end of this year, I'll be 60 years old. A whole different ideology and ideas. My grandfather was already transitioned when he was 55. He checked out very young. But he was ready. I'm not ready. There's too much to do, too many things to see, too many things to experience. Listen, if you want to go to the other side of the world, it's there. You want to go to Italy? It's there. It hasn't moved as far as I know. You want to go to Kansas? You've never been to Kansas? It's there. Why you don't go? Well, those are your decisions. Why you don't go where you want to be. You can blame your lover. You can blame your mother, your father. You can blame your children. You can blame yourself. You can blame others why you haven't succeeded, why you're not succeeding. You can blame your health. You can blame your mental state. You can play the blame game all day long. You and I know people who you look at them and you're like, how do you do it? How are you able to do that? I've tried for years and it never worked for me. Well, it's because they refocused and sometimes they just did it. Sometimes you just got to get in your car or get on the bus or get on the bike and just go and see where you end up. This illusion that you're going to go play the lottery. It's like playing the lottery, man. You go and buy a ticket, you hope you win. And if you don't win, you're like, oh, well, I didn't win. Somebody won. Yeah, somebody won. And their lives changed forever. Why did they win? Because they took the initiative to go to the store, get off their butt, put $1 down, because it only takes $1 or $2. They may have spent $60. Doesn't matter, because only $1 or $2 wins the ticket. But like the old saying is, you have to throw a lot of mud on the wall until something sticks. Some of you aren't willing to throw enough mud on the wall. That's why things don't stick in your life. I'm the same way. I didn't throw enough mud. I'm still throwing mud on the wall to see what sticks. Why? Because I've come to the understanding that if I truly want something to happen, it will happen. Because other people are doing it. Other people have done it. And the story I'm telling you right now is that I did it, and I'm doing it. I'm maintaining it. My health is where it's at because I made a decision. I made a cognitive decision that, I know exactly what would take me off course. And I know exactly what will put me in the right track. And so that's why I'm stressing these things I'm telling you. When someone tells me they can't do it, they're right. They can't. And when someone tells me they're going to do it, you don't need to prove anything to me. Because I trust that you're going to do it. And I also trust if it doesn't work out the first time, don't stop. I had a story when I teach my students. I take them to the river. And there's 2 things I'm going to share with you. So I take them to the river when I'm teaching them my ways. Because this is what I was taught. There's a little rock, and it's probably, bigger, 3 sizes of my head, and it's in the water. And it's probably 10, 20, 30, 40 yards maybe in the water. So it's like you can't really get to it. But the bank is full of stones. And, I tell them, because this is about continuing and focusing and determination. I said, pick up the stone. And they're like, okay, And the thing is, that's kind of how we are, right? When someone suggests to us, we trust them and we move forward with that. I said, hit that rock in the water. And they're like, I can't do that. Well, okay, I'll try. All right. And then they throw it. They overshoot, undershoot, shoot to the left, shoot to the right. I can't do it. I don't know what's going on. Oh my gosh, this is like, and 1, 2, 3, I go out. First 2 maybe I miss. Then I become like connected with what I'm doing. I take the stone, hits the big rock, and they're like, how'd you do that? I said, how'd I do what? How did you hit that rock? How did you know how to do it? I said, it's not so much how I knew how to do it. I believed that I could do it, but I also knew it probably wouldn't be the first try. And sometimes you're pretty fortunate if you hit it on the first try. But all the other successes about how to hit that stone was all the failures I had along the line throwing that stone. And I kept throwing. And listen, this is not something I just learned overnight. This is something that I had to do myself, right? It's like a pitcher, right? He just keeps pitching until it gets better. It's like anything you do. You get better at it. And you know what? I said, maybe you're playing the game to... And you know what's so funny? I said, maybe you're playing this game wrong. Maybe you're not really focused on what you're doing. And they're like, well, you told me to throw a rock. I said, you have all these rocks to choose from on the bank. And you're picking the biggest rocks. You're picking the biggest rocks as you think the weight and the heaviness is going to get there. I never told you that you couldn't use a small rock. I never said you couldn't use a big rock. I never said you could even have to be a rock. It could have been a branch. But what's funny is, when they see that, there's options. Then what happens is the clarity comes. Oh, okay, Iggy can do it. My teacher can do it. I can do it. And then, they miss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But I tell you, they keep throwing off stones. And I said, what if you took a whole handful of stones, you threw it? You think you would hit it? Oh, yeah, probably. And you know what's funny? They take a whole handful of stones, and they throw it, and some of them hit, and some of them miss. But there's something that happens. They go, that didn't feel right. I said, what do you mean? It just felt like I was kind of cheated the process. I'm like, how did you cheat the process? Well, it's because I grabbed a whole hand full of stones and just kind of like chucked them out there and didn't really have any focus. I just was hoping that something works. Now we're getting somewhere. Sure, you have some successes in there, but they're not sustaining success. You want pinpoint success, like the success that will carry you and motivate you. Then eventually they start throwing enough stones, they start hitting the rock in the river. And it's the most heartwarming thing for me to watch when someone does that. When I teach my students that. I have a very different teaching style than nobody ever knows. Because no one really truly knows what I do, because sometimes I don't know what I do. I'm just present in that moment. But when my teacher taught me that, I teach my students that. And the look on their face is priceless when they know that they hit that rock. And it's something you never forget. It's like something you like, I can hit that rock. Like I can hit these markers. I can hit these deadlines. I can hit these things if I focus that I need to be. And I know people don't like the word focus, but it's more about just channeling your energies in the right direction. And then once we're done with that part of the story, I tell them, look at the river. Tell me what you see. And they go, well, I see the river. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. But what do you notice in the river? And what do you notice? And of course, you know how as humans are, we think that things that we're being put on the spot. And so a part of us gets a little bit triggered and gets a little bit kind of like, oh, I don't want to give the wrong answer kind of thing. And I would tell them, there's no wrong answers. I just want to know what you see. And then they tell me about the trees. They tell me about this and that and the bird. And I had asked them about the river. Of course, that's part of the river because it's near the river. But I want to know what the river. And it's like, well, it's moving. We're getting somewhere. And I said, look at the river. What do you see? What are you noticing? Well, it's really, really fast out there. And then it slows down here. And then it trickles through here. And then it's just stagnant right here. Like nothing's happening. But I told him, I said, well, there's something happening at all of these different levels of what you see, levels and tiers of existence. But they're all still the river, right? And they say, yes. They're all connected. All these droplets, we're all part of the river, right? Yes. And sometimes we're in the big flow where our energy's coursing through, I tell them. And we're moving downstream and we're going through our process. And then sometimes we're not moving too fast. We're being slowed down by twists and turns and bumps in the river, stones and rocks. And then sometimes we just get in our own head and we become trapped in puddles of our feelings and emotions. Sometimes we become stagnant. Sometimes we just don't flow down the river because it's a moment to relax and rest our mind, our spirit, our soul, and to recollect. But we're never apart from the river. The river is always there. We're still connected in some way or another. Then eventually rains come, moves us all, and then we're all moving together. Doesn't matter if you're trapped or stuck, we're all flowing in the rhythm together. Because sometimes, if you don't move in the direction you want to move, other people will move you in that direction, like it or not. It's like anything that happens in life. If you are not a proponent, or you don't stand up, or you don't speak, or if you just stay idle, you could be on the bank watching, you can be down the river flowing, but eventually there's a tsunami of feelings and emotions that move the whole thing. And then you're just caught in that tsunami of feelings and emotions and frustrations and misunderstandings, things you don't understand. But it all calms down because eventually it all settles. Like anything in life, it all comes to a place where it just settles down. And that's the way humans are. We come to this place where just we go back to our flow, slower pace, and then our meditative state of recollecting ourselves, waiting for ourselves to move into the next existence. But regardless, you're always in the flow. It may be your flow, somebody else's flow, or no flow in the sense that you're just waiting. So that's my story. It's my story. You can own pieces and parts of it if you choose. Or you can just hear the story and just say, that was pretty cool. But regardless, I wanted to share this with you guys because I appreciate you guys, because you appreciate me and I appreciate you, and it's like a synergetic combination of feelings and emotions. A lot of you are here listening to my story because you know me or want to get to know me, and some of you I have conversations with when I watch you're popping through the feeds. And I hope that I touch your heart, touch your life in a way that's positive. And if I challenged you, or if you challenged me, thank you. And if I put you in a situation where you felt like I was not fair, my apologies. That wasn't my intention. Sometimes what you teach me about yourself and express yourself towards me is only a reflection of what you're sharing with me. And then I'm going, well, you're being this way, so I'm just trying to buffer that. I always joke around. I tell people I grew up in a restaurant and a bar, and that has so much validity for me. Just all the amounts of countless people that walk through those doors, and the stories they had to share, and the feelings and the emotions that they drank away or ate away, or just hung out in the restaurant because they had no family or no connection, or they became your family. It's a beautiful thing. All right, guys. I appreciate all of you for tuning in to my show, my podcast here, as I share my feelings and my emotions. You got this, guys. If you want more of what I do, visit me at iggygarcia.com or go to my YouTube channel. It's good to be here. Iggy Garcia, it's good to be here. And subscribe to that so you know when the next things pop up. And then, come to our healing center. Safe and Sound Wellness, 80 Grace Drive in Powell, Ohio. Opens up April 1st for those of you who are interested. So, for those of you who didn't know, we have a space opened up. Our grand opening is going to be on the 24th and 25th, but I wanted to share that with you guys. Now I have a place to be able to share these thoughts and not worry and be encumbered by other people's timelines and calendars. So with that, I want to say, Atakuyasin, it's good to be here. Ho'oponopono. And Irisikwi, which means gratitude in Quechua. And aho. And I will see you guys next time. I appreciate you guys. Be well. Take care. I love you guys dearly. You got this. You can do this. But don't wait. Don't wait for somebody else to motivate you. Figure out the strategies you need to get you going and get you moving. All right? And with that, peace and love, my friends. Take care. What is above is below. Give thanks to the Creator. Give thanks to Mother Earth for all that she gives you each and every day. And give thanks to yourself for be kind to yourself. Be good to yourself. Know that you're doing the best you can in the moment you're given, in the tools that you have, and the things that are in your memories that you have to fight and work through. Take care, guys. Have a great day.